Here's something that really bothers me about the American media. And like I said, I'll take a couple of questions here afterwards. But what I've noticed from the Kamala Harris campaign, it's not just that her border policies are a total nightmare. It's that Kamala Harris thinks that you're a bad person for thinking that she's doing a bad job. And you see this in some of her messaging over the last couple of weeks, where we've talked about the unbelievable toll that has been caused by illegal immigration. There are communities in the state of Ohio where car insurance rates are going up because the migrant flood that Kamala Harris has let come into our country has made the streets less safe to drive. And of course, that means the car insurance rates go up too. We've got local services, local schools, even in this state, even some of our small towns in the state of North Carolina, where they've had a massive influx of children who don't even speak English. And I've got nothing against those children, by the way, but when you drop a bunch of kids into our rural school districts that don't speak English, then who suffers? It's the children in those districts who deserve to get a good education and aren't because of Kamala Harris's policies. And I happen to believe that we are, my friends, I think that we're the most compassionate country in the whole world, and I don't want to change that. But for American leadership, our compassion must start with American citizens. It must start with people right here at home. And you know, Kamala Harris, she doesn't want to debate that. She doesn't want to debate the costs of the migrant invasion. She doesn't want to debate these issues. She'd rather censor you. And the main tool of censorship under today's Democratic Party, under Kamala Harris's leadership, is to call all the people who are complaining about this migration problem a racist. Even though, by the way, many of the people who are complaining about her open border come from every walk of life and every skin color in our country. Well, I think we should send a message to Kamala Harris, and we ought to stand up for the hardworking Americans who are mad about the border because it's made their communities less safe and it's made their lives less affordable. And our message to Kamala Harris is, how dare you call people a racist for wanting to close down that wide open border? Our message to Kamala Harris is, how dare you call the citizens of your own country bad people because they don't want a flood of illegal migration in their country? Kamala Harris, how dare you attack the citizens of your own country for not wanting their children to die of fentanyl overdoses? Kamala Harris, how dare you call the citizens of your own country bad people? You're a bad person for causing this border crisis. We are not bad people for complaining about it. Let me just talk about one final issue, my friends, and then we'll take some questions from reporters. You know, a lot of this stuff is, like I said, it's not always easy. Politics is not always wave a magic wand and make these problems go away. But the affordability crisis, because Kamala Harris refuses to answer the question of what she would do to lower the price of groceries and housing, of food and everything else for American citizens, Donald Trump and I have a very, very simple answer, and it starts with energy. It starts with a very simple principle: drill, baby, drill. You want to lower Americans' prices. Because here's what Kamala Harris has done. In the name of environmental policy, and of course we all believe in clean air and water. We want our children to grow up in this beautiful country that is clean of environmental toxins. But what she has done is, in the name of environmental policy, she has encouraged the offshoring. She's encouraged us to ship all of our energy and manufacturing jobs to China, which is, by the way, the dirtiest economy in the history of the world. If you care about energy and you care about the environment and you want a clean environment, but also if you just want American jobs, unleash the American energy sector, unleash the American energy worker. Stop shipping this stuff overseas. We got plenty of it right here at home. Let's get it from our own territory with our own workers. And if we do that, my friends, we're going to lower the cost of everything. Because everything, Donald Trump says this all the time, everything requires energy. You want to talk about why our farmers are struggling? Because everything from the diesel fuel that they use to the fertilizer they use has gotten more expensive because of Kamala Harris's energy policies. You want to talk about why groceries are more expensive? Let's talk about the fact that our truck drivers are paying way more for diesel than they were 3 years ago, and they're, of course, the ones who are driving the groceries to the grocery store in the first place. You want to talk about why all of our manufactured goods, our construction equipment is more expensive? It's because it takes energy to make this stuff, and you jack up the cost of energy, and you're going to make Americans poor. So to Kamala Harris, we have one final message on the economy, and I've got some advice for you, Kamala, on how you can answer this question about your specific plans. No more word salad about how you grew up in a middle-class family. Unleash American energy, unleash American workers. That's how you open up this country, and that's how you lower prices for American citizens. So I'm going to take some questions in just a second, but I want to, especially now while everybody's standing up here, I want you to take out your phones, and we're going to ask every single one of you to play your part. Because look, we're never going to have the biased media on our side, and we're never going to have, Kamala Harris lies about Donald Trump every single day and twice on Sunday. But what we do have is the truth, and we have all of you. So what I want every single person to do is to try to commit to getting 10 people to the polls. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is by talking about this rally, this moment on social media. And so if you would, take a photo, take a selfie, take whatever photo makes the most sense, and then post it on social media with the caption, "This is why I'm going to vote for Donald J. Trump." And if we do that, we're going to reach far more people than any reporter or any Kamala Harris campaign could want to reach, because you all have power. And here's something else. I want you to go to this website. I want to read it because I want to make sure I get it right. swampthevote.com. Go to swampthevote.com and find out how you can volunteer and how you can help us. A dear colleague of mine in the United States Senate will often say, we need to get out there as Republicans and we need to vote 10 times. And that makes people a little uncomfortable because they say, well, we're Republicans. We don't vote 10 times, we only vote once, because we believe in every legal ballot counting, but only once. But here's how you go out and cast 10 ballots legally. You get yourself to the polls, and you get 9 friends and family. That's how we do this in the legal and the right way. And here's the final point about this. Look, we have got 3 ways to vote now. Early voting, vote by mail, and voting on Election Day. And look, I am a firm believer that we ought to have Election Day in this country and not election season, but we are where we are. So we got to take advantage of all these pathways to vote. Because if I talk to 100 people who plan to vote for Donald Trump in 2020, 95 of them voted for Donald Trump. But then 5 of them, a kid got sick, and so they had to go pick him up from school. Or mom had something, so they had to go pick mom up and deal with some of her issues. Or, maybe they just had a late night at work and they didn't make it. The best way for us to beat the Democrats in November is to get out there and vote. So do everything you can, drag everybody across the finish line, and we're going to take this country back because of all of you. God bless you all, and thank you. So